Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pickleball and Politics, where I combine my quest to stay out of the kitchen with my passion for politics. Thanks for joining me again. I have a little tiny pickleball tip of the week. As you know, we start every episode with a little pickleball, and today's tip is be careful out there. I was at a party this past weekend, and I ask everybody I meet for the first time the same question. Do you play pickleball? And sometimes I get yes, sometimes I get no. This time I got, God, no, I would never play pickleball. That sport is dangerous. And I said, what do you mean? It was a youngish guy. Of course, he was under 50, so he was young to me. And he said, I'm an orthopedist. That is a dangerous sport. Almost all of my patients these days are either breaking their hip, breaking their leg, compound fractures in their wrist. They're tearing this, they're tearing that. They can't move their shoulder. He said, that sport is dangerous. I wouldn't play it if you paid me. And I go, well, I play pickleball. And he goes, good for you. Be careful out there. It's a dangerous sport. And I told him the last time I went to my primary care physician, he asked me what I was doing for exercise, and I told him. And when I included pickleball, he went, ooh, be careful. So my tip is just want to remind all my little picklers out there, be careful out there because it's dangerous. So I wanted to talk real quick today about this phenomenon that is sweeping the country right now. It is really a culture craze, and it doesn't make sense to me. Full disclosure, I have not seen either movie. Of course, I'm talking about Barbieheimer. That's all anyone is talking about right now. So we had two big movies come out this weekend. One, the Barbie movie, and the other one, Oppenheimer. And so they couldn't be any more different, as we have Plastic Barbie, who had $100 million budget, $150 million advertising budget. And then we have Oppenheimer, which of course is about Robert Oppenheimer, who is, let's face it, the father of the atomic bomb. And it is by Christopher Nolan, is the director, and he's of Batman fame. And then we have Barbie, and we have these two movies that have opened the same weekend. Couldn't be any more different from one another. One is about the scientist who developed the atom bomb, and then we have Plastic Barbie and her buddy Ken. I mean, completely different movies, and yet people have combined it and they call it Barbieheimer. AMC sold 20,000 tickets of people who were seeing the movies back to back. Now, like I said, full disclosure, I have not seen either of the movies. I'm not sure about the Barbie movie, though I am wearing pink today because we're talking about Barbie. I definitely want to see Oppenheimer. It looks like a great movie. So the question is, why would people who, this was the opening weekend. Now, Barbie did make $337 million worldwide. It made 155 here in the States. Pretty big budget, $250 million between making the film and the advertising, well, which is basically one big infomercial from Mattel. Now, I played with Barbies when I was young. I actually liked my Barbies. I had several Barbies because Barbie did different things. You didn't have just one Barbie. You had, astronaut Barbie and go-go dancer Barbie and peacenik Barbie and all kinds of Barbies. But you only ever had one Ken. I only had one Ken. It's just weird. I had several Barbies, one Ken. Same with all the other little sisters and friends and the whole bit. I had the house, I had the car, I had all the paraphernalia that went with it too. I can even still remember my Barbie case. It was plastic. I'm sure a bunch of you has had it too. Anyways, so here we have a very frivolous movie. I mean, about as frivolous as you can get. The Barbie movie. And 20,000 people with just AMC alone. I'm sure there are others in other theaters who have also double dipped. So why would you go see Barbie and then follow it up with that? It's sort of interesting, and it's quite a phenomenon when you think about it. So this Barbieheimer has completely taken over the internet. There's memes, there's short stories, there's videos, there's all kinds of fan fantasies and weird things that people have put together. And it's sort of interesting because on one hand, one is as frivolous as could get, and the other hand, the most serious subject of our day, even still today with all the talk of nuclear weapons and such, that people want to combine this. And it made me think about back in the 40s when the only news you could get about the war that you could see was when you went to the movies on the weekends. And you'd get the newsreels and you'd see what was going on. And sure, it was a lot of propaganda. And sure, we all had cases of carnival glass that were given out every single week when you went to the theater. There was always a giveaway too. I know my mom had cases and cases of carnival glass. And different colors meant different things. Anyways, so here are people, and I get it. Listen, it was a record hot weekend in the country. So, of course, people are going to go to the movies to cool down a little bit. Too hot to do a lot of outside activities, especially if you don't have air conditioning. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine. Or access to a swimming pool or the beach or someplace you can cool off. So the movie theater makes sense. But it's so interesting that people would put them together. But what is also interesting is they did remarkable box office. Sound of Freedom did another 25 million this weekend. Oppenheimer did 80 million this week. Barbie did 155 domestically and 182 internationally. People are going to the movies. Again, after the pandemic era, we like to say. But each one of those movies are completely different. You have the Barbie movie. We haven't seen Barbie movie before. We haven't seen the Oppenheimer movie before. We haven't seen Sound of Freedom before. And it just shows that when you give movie goers good, original movies, they will go. What didn't they go see? They didn't go see Indiana Jones. They spent a fortune making Indiana Jones, and nobody went to see it. Because who wants to watch Harrison Ford running around again like a crazy man at 81 years old? No, they don't. There's nothing original about it. We don't want to see Fast and Furious again. We don't want to see Transformers again. And all of these others. Now, Batman sometimes can be a little original, but it's still regurgitated Batman. Every 3 years there's another Batman. There's another Batman. And he's not even the same guy. Christopher Nolan did do Oppenheimer, and he is best known for his Batman movies. This is why I mentioned Batman. What's very interesting politically is that Vietnam has banned the Barbie movie for being pro-China. And Japan has not said that they won't allow Oppenheimer. I guess they're a little sensitive on the subject, which I understand to a degree, but they have not given it a release date. They are going to hold off on it being shown in Japan. I'm not quite sure what their rationale is for that, except they might still be a little sensitive to the fact that the United States of America did drop 2 atomic bombs on them. So That's a decision they're going to make. But Japan is allowing Barbie, and she will be in theaters in Japan on August 11th. Isn't that good to know? Now, another thing I wanted to talk about is Sound of Freedom had another great weekend. They're up to $125 million on a $14 million budget with almost no marketing. So when you compare the amount of money they've spent on Barbie and Oppenheimer, Oppenheimer, like I said, took in $80 million, but they spent $200 million to make it with marketing and with advertising. So they've got some room to make up there, where Sound of Freedom is just like making money, which is great to see. I also wanted to talk about how AMC theaters have had reports that they did not have air conditioning in their Sound of Freedom theaters. And you know what? That happened to me also. It was a cold night, so luckily it wasn't, but I had taken a sweater. So the night I saw it was a cool, rainy night, and so the air conditioning wasn't really missed. But I'd taken a sweater, and I was very surprised how warm it was. So I do think AMC is trying to sabotage these Sound of Freedom viewings. I just do, because it happened to me, and other people are reporting the same exact thing. So tell me, what do you think of Barbieheimer? I will definitely go see Oppenheimer. Barbie, I'm not too sure. That kind of ship has sailed for me. My Barbie days are over. Now, maybe I'll wait till it comes on one of the streaming services I have, but I don't see me running to go get it. Now, as you know, I end every episode with the dink of the day. And today I was really thinking, who's the dink of the day? Who's the dink of the day? Or what's the dink of the day? I was kind of having trouble with it. And I was at the market earlier today. And I was on the phone. And so I hadn't backed up in the parking lot yet. And I'm watching people, and person after person after person puts their groceries in the trunk or in the back of the hatch of their SUV, whatever. And they just put their carriage beside the car in the front, and they leave. You know who I think the dink of the days are? Every day, every single day, you're a dink of the day if you don't put your carriage back in the corral. I think not putting your carriage in the corral after you're finished with it at the market, at TJX, at Walmart, wherever it is you're shopping, is one of the most rudest and inconsiderate things you can do to your fellow human being. Put your cart in the corral. It's a simple thing that shows you're considerate to your fellow human beings. One is you can't find a parking spot when there's 15 carts all over the place. Half of the carts are in the middle of the spot and you can't get out and move it to get in. Put your cart back. And two, cars are expensive. Cars are really, really expensive. An average car is like $30,000. It's a Honda. We're not talking about a high-end car. We're talking about a regular car. Costs $30,000. Have some consideration. People spend 6-7 years paying off their cars, and with interest rates and everything, people are paying a lot of money every month on their car. Please have some consideration for them. Don't damage their paint and scratch the side of their car before they're even with their first monthly payment. And people don't like when people park at the end or they park sideways, but I get it, because people are just rude. Hey, people out there, put your carts back in the corral. They're there for a reason. Be considerate of your fellow human, your fellow citizen. It just shows respect. That's what I think. Okay, you can reach me on Getter at Pickleball and Politics, on Twitter at Pickle and Paul, on Instagram at Pickleball and Politics. You can go to my YouTube channel right here, Pickleball and Politics, or you can go to my website, pickleballandpolitics.com. Leave me a message, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I love hearing from you. And until next time, I'll see you soon on Pickleball and Politics.